I see he's muted. He might be trying to figure out his connection. We'll just give people a minute to pile in here. No route. No route. Yeah, it's all good, man. Yeah, you just do your thing, and we'll work our way through. Maybe we'll start with snapshot. I'll go to the snapshot here, and so
Hey,
let's.
guys.
Oh, hey, yeah, there you are. Can hear you. Perfect. Discord giving you a little trouble this morning.
Yeah, my VPN, it's got this thing called enhanced mode, which like runs it globally for every app, and I don't know, sometimes like Discord makes me turn it off for no reason. So I did that and it worked again.
My VPN is weird also, but you have a firewall to penetrate through, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it comes with its own challenges. All right, so I think we were discussing yesterday, first off, the kind of what the upcoming next weeks will look like for our programming, and maybe we'll do a little consensus here, but I think what we discussed was we should kind of take the weekend off, the 24th and the 25th. And for our end of year extravaganza, we'll talk about Dr. Wagme's Hall of Fame. We got some end of year activities. GMI is putting together a video just to celebrate kind of what we've done, everything we've done this last year. And so yesterday we threw out maybe the 30th. Did you give this any thought? Like if the 30th would be appropriate, or the 31st you said might work out depending on how your night goes, but
Yeah, I think the 30th would definitely work better for me because there's probably going to be something going on the 31st I got to go to.
yeah, okay. So maybe we'll plan the end of year extravaganza for the same 2 p.m. UTC, and it might work out for a lot more people, I'm hoping. Or maybe we might get a totally different crowd, but we'll maybe aim for Friday for that, the 30th, for the end of year extravaganza, and the 24th and 25th there will be no Saturday hangout or DAO call. So kind of give us a chance to unwind a bit and take a little bit of time off before we get back into it in the new year. So yeah, right on. Let me just quickly check the chat here. GM, everyone. If you guys want to follow along today, we have no future live streaming, and we also have the live feed that I'm currently on. So that's ZombieShepherd in the background, and it's really nice having someone in the back who's doing all the flipping of screens and everything. So you don't have to manage your own stream and run the DAO call. So it's really nice. Let's go through the proposals here, the last couple, and there's nothing currently open right now. So let's see. I think we left off at. I think we were around here last time. The burn the lock spillover was a vote that recently went through. Let's have a look at this one. So this was the burn all currently locked spillover, or the same as option 1, but excludes spillover that's come from reservoirs. And let's see how this one did. So very narrowly, we almost voted to burn the locked spillover, which.
Oh wow! I thought that one was actually gonna win because last time I checked the vault, it was in favor of option 1. So what?
Yeah,
I wonder what happened there.
I think because that option 1 vote was split between 1 and 2. That's the reason why. Because you can see option 1 got 36% and option 2 got 14%. So that's still, I think, a majority in favor, isn't it? It's very, very close. 36 plus 14 is 40. That's 50, right? So it's if you combine option 1 and 2, this proposal would have passed. Actually, it's just because
let's see. Looks
The
like
vote
someone
is
came in with 70% was do nothing in the vault.
was that the vault that said do nothing? Or
Yeah, the 28,000 VLT was for do nothing, which was
okay.
70%.
Okay. So very narrow there. That's very interesting
Yeah.
actually. And so we could have a little discussion around spillover here because I did see a forum post that I thought was kind of interesting. But let's move on through some of these proposals here. Keep Aga 51 results or revote. By large consensus we're going in for a revote for that. And so as far as what we need to do to move forward, I think everyone's confirmed in the signaling thread that whoever's still gonna be running whoever is not going to be running has confirmed in the signaling thread, I believe. So what we would do now, I guess, is just compile the names that are in the running, and then we would resubmit this proposal, I think. Would be is there anything we're missing that we have to do aside from just like compiling the whoever's still eligible?
So I think Golden Cross is going to be coming on a little bit later, just to double check with
Nice.
everyone, and then he's planning to resubmit that probably tomorrow.
Excellent. Okay, right on. Let's see here. Fund Alchemica spending competition. This was with Mark. We discussed this pretty thoroughly last weekend. And this one has passed with 78%. And the consensus on this one was this will be a great opportunity to kind of see the engagement with people's assets. And yeah, just see how effective this first round of kind of land rarity farming, essentially, kind of, or land yield farming, I guess, in a way, because it's tracking your spending. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out.
Yeah.
I really like the Gotchi board product. Like I know the DAO actually funded the Gotchi board project, so I think it's going to be quite useful. And I'm looking forward to especially the glitter spending leaderboard that is going to come online at some point. So we should keep that in mind, moving forward. Like, let's see how this rarity farming or land, or I don't know what we're calling it, but or I guess the Alchemica spending competition. That's the official name. So the Alchemica spending competition is going to be interesting to see how the funds. Well, you made an interesting point actually last week where you said the one way to measure success would be we're going to put 80K into this, funded between Pixelcraft and DAO. And so we'll get to measure the effect by seeing the amount of spending that this leaderboard is actually able to generate. Because if it can incentivize people to spend more than what was actually given out in form of prizes, that could be really promising. So
Yeah, pretty much. It's I mean, it's really just if we took that 80,000 worth of Alchemica and just burned it versus having people actually spend it and see if we can go above that 80K in terms of the value of it.
yeah, absolutely.
This is actually really the Gotchi board's come a long way. It's looking pretty nice.
It's amazing, man. I love the UI that he's implemented. It's slick.
Yeah.
I think very much like on brand with Aavegotchi. So really, really like that product. So this will be good. Let's go back to our snapshot. Last proposal here: reserve backspill for district DAO economy. And the consensus on this one was, again, kind of a close vote. Well, somewhat of a close vote. 41% saying reserve the backspill, 58% saying do something else. So we gotta think of some creative things that we might be able to do with our I think it's 420K worth of Alchemica. I don't know. I could be wrong. Could be off there, but it's a decent amount of Alchemica, from what I understand. There's a forum post here. Let's find it. This post here: use accumulated spillover to help fund arena token drop. So Quincy posted this. Hi friends. There's been much debate and a couple of proposals on what to do with the accumulated spillover. I'd like to propose the idea on what to do with it. He'd like to propose to have the stored spillover Alchemica be used as token drops in the arena. In my opinion, this would be best use case of it, since spillover in the Gachiverse is currently not active, but is still growing daily. He would like to propose the idea 25% of all future collected spillover go towards funding Alchemica drops in the arena once spillover is enabled in the Gachiverse. In my opinion, would add a small perpetual way of helping fund the arena token drops going forward. Granted, this is just an idea at this point and would like the community's feedback on the subject. So this is I think this is a really new post, posted 10 hours ago, but doesn't have a lot of discussion yet. So kind of would like to know what people think. Like, how's your arena experience been so far? Like picking up tokens, and do you see the DAO maybe funding a portion of that token drop going forward?
Yeah, feel free to raise your hand. Come on up, say hi.
Yeah, absolutely.
My thought on it, I think it's a little bit too early to really be focusing on that, on like a play drop kind of aspect of the arena. I'm more interested in seeing if we can encourage people to actually become tipplers and also have like buy-ins for tournaments and things like that, that would make it more self-sustaining rather than basically always bringing on new supply to fund the arena, which would make it kind of more of an inflationary thing. The idea of the arena is actually to make something fun that people want to spend their Alchemica on, and not being giving it away all the time.
That's a very good point. Maybe it would create a false assumption that, I mean, you know, once you start doing something like this, it would maybe create a false assumption that the DAO is kind of expected to start funding, like over time, you know what I mean? There would be a, you know, maybe over months or whatever, if you turned it off and said, we're not doing it anymore, you would get a reaction rather than, you know, not implementing it to begin with. Let's see what people are saying.
Hey friends, can you hear me?
Yeah, GM.
Oh, GM. I just really wanted to quickly say, because I think somebody had floated out the idea yesterday of being able to come into the arena. If there was like a tap up, a fill up that we could grab, say 100, 200 Alchemica, we can weigh it in FUD or whatever, but you have to have something when you come in so that there's always spillover, like the buy-in. We can have it so that there's a free-to-play version where you might be able to jump in maybe once or twice during the day, but if you want to jump in consistently, you have to have some Alchemica in your pocket so that we don't then have to worry about the spillover, because we are the spillover as we get killed.
Yeah, I think if you look at the roadmap, the public arena is really meant to be a free to play for people to just come in, and if it's entertaining, there might be some tippers in there, but there's also meant to be more kind of pay to enter. Not necessarily tournament style, but just pay to enter, and you can basically you'll be able to bring as much as you want into the combat, as it'll either be in your gachi pocket. I think that's probably how it would be done, or we're also working on having Alchemica. Basically, you can deposit it into your wallet, like in the game, like if you think of more like Binance, where they have like you deposit your funds and it's credited to your wallet, not your gachi. So there's definitely going to be a way where people can bring Alchemica into the match. That's like 100% going to happen. It's just a question of, should is there a free to play option? I think there definitely should be, so people can play around before like committing to bringing some Alchemica in to buy potions or whatnot. And then definitely some sort of tournament style where there's a buy-in and it's basically elimination. So whoever is the last gotchi standing would be able to walk away with all the prize money. So we're not really, like I said, I don't really want the arena to be something that we have to constantly fund with Alchemica from various sources. It's the goal of it is to let's see if we can actually get a microcosm of an economy where people want to bring their Alchemica in because it's fun, because they're enjoying it. And if they win, maybe they'll get some rewards.
Yeah, I think this is the right mindset to have. I think so. It's I'm reading Dr. Wagner's comment here. He says, I think it's a mistake to put spillover back into the market. We should aim for a sustainable arena economy. That's kind of what you're talking about here. And this could also be like crafting potions, Alchemica entry fees, and other use cases regarding existing Alchemica that's already out there. Following up here, we have Golden Cross regarding the Aavegotchi DAO Foundation election. And so 14 remain from the original 20. Would like to confirm that these are still in the running. And if any objections or anything spotted out of place, let me know. So we got 14 applicants still. Got CryptoGotchi, Maxi Crouton, Mori, No Futuristic, Zonzi, Choina, Rickage, Sir Linkist, Notorious BTC, Brills, Kakusho, Zeitgeist, McCallum, and McAbandoned Pants.
So McAbandoned Pants never made a Discord application. Was there an application somewhere?
Yeah, let me pull it. I can grab it right now.
Is he around or she around to?
Yeah, McAbandoned Pants. Are you in?
Not the best name for a signer.
McAbandoned Pants. Yes. Let's see here. I'm just gonna look at the tally forms also here. Aavegotchi DAO Foundation. Okay, McAbandoned Pants. So he did submit in the tally form here. November 13th. Yeah. So I agree, Jesse. That's not an official way. And I'm looking at his application here. There isn't a whole lot in the application itself either. So make abandoned pants. Got to confirm you're running in the DAO signaling thread if you want in the running. Yeah. I will try and track him down after the meeting. I don't know if I have his contact, but I can. If anybody does have Mech Abandoned Pants as a Discord contact, if you can just ping them and let them know to post in the DAO signaling thread, that would be cool.
I don't even. What's his Discord? I don't even see him here.
Actually, let me pull up the form again.
Seems like he's out.
Yeah, honestly, I'll say he's out because even his Discord handle just says Make Abandoned Pants, so he doesn't have there's no proper username there.
Yeah. It's Mac Abandoned Pants. That's why I couldn't find it.
Mac Abandoned Pants.
It's like, why am I getting pinged?
Everybody spam his DMs.
I kind of agree that it's a little bit too early to think about, completely burning the Alchemica.
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand the sentiment behind it, and it potentially is a good idea. But at the same time, once it's gone, it's gone. So we might regret that later. Hard to say.
And there's a good point here. If it's just sitting there and we all can all come in agreement that we're not gonna, try and do something with it when it's unnecessary, it can sit there and it's kind of as good as locked right now, so long as we're in agreement that it's probably not the best thing to do. So it's there if we need it. And yeah, I agree, Jesse. We can burn it. We could always burn it later if we need to. Quincy's saying, can we just stop adding to it? So that would mean like, are you suggesting like you would want to burn all spillover going, or the locked spillover or backspill going forward? Yeah, Choina saying, what's the rush? Once it's burned, it's gone. Quincy saying, stop doing spillover. I think the problem with that is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think players or landowners feel like even if that spillover is not coming directly to them, that is still spillover they produced from their land. And so I guess the hope would be for that value that was created from their farming activity would somehow come back around at some point, through whatever creative ways we can think of. Esmeralda saying, spillover to return under parcel going forward. I'm actually curious from a development, from a dev perspective, how like simple or how complicated do you think that would be to, when the spillover is generated, that it actually somehow makes its way back into the locked spillover in your land?
I think we would just not mint that part.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so stop spillover for landowners. Yeah, I think we can get creative with it. Like, we have time on our side. Like the year's wrapping up. Let's sit on this for a bit. Let's think about it, and let's have this ongoing conversation. But I agree with kind of the sentiment echoed by some people here that the spillover is as good as locked, so long as we can agree that there's no real benefit to introducing this into the economy anytime soon. All right. So we have a few things we can talk about. We talked about last week the bazaar, retiring the bazaar listing fee. And so there were a few options I think we discussed. There was no fee at all, which sounded like maybe might not be the best idea because we might get more, the bazaar might become more susceptible to bots. We discussed swapping the ghost fee out for a matic fee in terms of a user experience perspective might be better, since most people who have made it onto Matic will have at least a small amount, or sorry, that made it onto Polygon will have a small amount of Matic. And there was a third option. I can't quite remember now what. Oh, I think the third option was no fee for listing an item, but there might be if there's a fee for delisting. I think it was.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what people think about the Bazaar listing fees. And the Bazaar listing fees currently are being burned, right?
Yes, we've burned roughly 60,000 ghosts because of them so far.
Okay. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, like how does that compare to, for example, other types of fees that are generated from the protocol, such as, from item sales or
we've definitely there's definitely been more revenue generated from the sales because it's like a 3.5% total fee on the Bazaar sale. So I mean, there's definitely been a lot more generated. Like what we're trying to incentivize is we want more volume, right? And if the fee is preventing volume, then it probably should go because the protocol makes more money from volume than it does from burning listing fees. So Igor's he's got his opinion here at the bottom. He believes that the botting problem is not a problem, and so I think that's one of the main things to discuss is if we take away the fee completely, then a human is going to have very little chance of actually selling the item at the price that they initially listed at, because there'll be a bot that just comes in right under them and undercuts it by 0.1 ghost. But I guess do we care about that? Is that something that we're worried about? And as far as like a UX, because that exists on every market. It's not something that exists only on our marketplace, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me personally, like experiencing that across other marketplaces was kind of frustrating, because you have different skill levels for traders. You have people who they actually they spend a lot, like all day on the bazaar trading, and like that's what they do to capture spread. And then you have people who every now and then might want to do a trade here and there. And for those people, I think, I include myself in that category. Maybe have only ever done like a handful of like wearable sales, like not really trading them. But it could be a little bit frustrating for someone like that where you don't sell an item very often, but when you do, it's like you're getting undercut even at the reasonable price that you set at.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could just do an auction, right?
Yeah, well, actually, that's true because now we have another option. We could do a GBM on it, and those people like myself don't have to worry about that. So there is another alternative now that exists.
And offers will definitely be coming in 2023.
Oh yeah, sort of like OpenSea there, so anybody can come in and see I have an item and throw an offer on it.
Yes.
Nice, very nice.
So I don't know. I mean, we could try removing them if the user experience is affected significantly. We could put them back, or we could try the free to list but cost to delist model. I think that's actually, is that what they do on OpenSea? Like if you list something, it's free, but if you want to delist it, I think it actually costs. It's not a fee, but it costs a gas transaction, right?
Yeah, I'm not a huge trader. I think No Future might know though if there's is there a trading fee when you're listing? I thought there wasn't, but I don't use OpenSea very often, so. Cost gas to list. The first time you list a collection, yeah, there's a fee, so. So, I mean, a path forward, we could just completely remove the fee and then see how, what effects happen if botting becomes a nuisance rather than something people don't really aren't bothered by, we could switch over to, okay, well, we'll bring the fee back, but we won't charge for listing an item, only for
Yeah, I kind of like that.
delisting.
That would be my favorite option, I think, because we're still generating a little bit of revenue, and most people won't be affected. It'll really just affect the guys that are trying to relist multiple times. I mean, that could add up, but if you list it at the price you're trying to sell it at and it sells, then you're pretty happy. You don't have to pay 0.1 Matic.
Yeah, the only thing is it might not address the undercutting issue, because
I think it
anybody...
would, because the undercutters would have to delist and then relist.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, that's true. They would have to do that. No, that makes sense. And I guess, what are your thoughts on what we just discussed versus implementing just a straight up just Matic fee? That's Matic. Because you did mention something interesting about gasless petting, and if these fees were, sufficient, maybe some sort of gasless, maybe not gasless petting, but some sort of gasless transactions could be introduced somewhere where
Right.
where it's a nuisance right now to deal with.
Yes. So the other question is, where does the fee go? That might need to be a separate proposal. Right now, because we were not going to burn Matic, so it would need to go somewhere. We could do it to the DAO treasury and just kind of accumulate it, or another option would be, let's use it for gasless transactions in our gas tank with like Biconomy. And we're not going to do gasless petting because it doesn't generate revenue. But I could imagine that if we have fees in the bazaar, like that are paying into a gas tank, we could theoretically support a gasless UI for some parts of the protocol, like the bazaar or the GBM stuff. Basically, anything that generates revenue would be or also is like an area where newcomers are going to get their first taste of Aavegotchi, and we want to make it easy for them. So Gotchi lending could be another area.
Yeah. So yeah, basically we just need to come to the consensus of fees or no fees. We could just turn it off and see what happens. Like, I don't know if there's any real harm in that, just to see, for a week or two, what sort of activity we see on the bazaar with no fee. But
Yeah.
The other one is, then where do the fees go? And then also, will we want a ghost? If we are going to keep the fees, do we want a ghost fee or a Matic fee? Choin is asking, what would you like us to do here, Jesse? Just reconfirm our own candidacy. I think he's asking to reconfirm in the signaling thread, I believe, but he had thrown those names out as who's tentatively in the running right now. Just making sure it's accurate and final. Yeah. All right, so yeah, let's maybe think about how we want to approach the listing fee, and then either, well, not next week, but the next DAO meeting, we can kind of hopefully get to consensus on that. And I don't know, do we need a proposal to turn off the listing fees? Like, if we were to just do like a trial for like 2 weeks, do you think that would, need like a SIG prop, core prop to be implemented, or can we just, try to turn off the fees because it's being burned anyway?
It's a protocol level change, so I think it's worth having the full SIG prop, core prop.
Okay. And also, second question, for is, I guess, a proposal would be fee or no fee, and then another proposal for how the fee would be structured, whether it's ghost or Matic. Fee for listing, or fee only for delisting, that sort of thing.
So yeah, my proposal would be, number one, we're going to remove the fee for listing. Number two, add the fee for delisting and changing the price. Number three, the fee would be changed from ghost to Matic. And number four, the fee would go to a new wallet for gasless transactions. Number 4 does have a little bit of wiggle room where we could maybe do some sort of split between the gas tank and the DAO. But I don't know if that's really necessary. Probably could just do it to the gas tank. And Dr. Wagme, the reason that we're actually talking about this proposal now is because we have some optimizations and changes we want to do to the bazaar in terms of like adding batch listings and ERC 721 relisting. But before we do those changes, we want to just confirm how we're going to implement the fees, because those fees will also be part of the batch listing changes and everything. So I thought it was a good time to raise this.
So Action has a couple points here. He's saying, in regards to my comment about the trial, he says 2 weeks in pretty dead market. I don't think we're gonna see any huge change. So yeah, it's probably some truth to that actually. And then second comment, so you can't remove posting without paying. That sounds annoying to me. Feels like punishing for failing to sell. I don't know. What do people think about that? Zico saying, well, now, if you can't post without paying, if anything, on average, it's less fees. On average, it's less fees. Yeah, because I guess you're not paying both ways. You're paying only to delist. Thinking about the experience. No, that's important to think about, because we do want to make sure it's a smooth experience for someone who's kind of new coming to Aavegotchi, for sure. Dr. Wagme, what's more annoying, the fee or a bot undercutting you? Yeah, undercutting is definitely worse. I can personally, I've personally dealt with that frustration of, hey, might want to sell this item. It's been a couple months, and I go list the item, and then, you're going to get undercut anyway, but probably by people rather than bots, where there's actually some market activity going. People delist, they compete with you on the price. I mean, that's all good, but it's that 0.1 ghost less, when you list something at a reasonable price and a bot undercuts you just by like 2% or something, just so their item sells first. That's the annoying part. So I like your proposal there, Coder Dan. We should think about that and see if the DAO would feel this is reasonable. But I think it looks pretty good. Remember when? Oh, that's a different comment. Okay, yeah. So why don't we move on here? I wanted to talk about Dr. Wagme's Hall of Fame real quick, and actually, Dr. Wagme, if you're available and you want to just quickly speak on it. Otherwise, I'm just going to give a little brief rundown of what exactly is going on here. But you're welcome to come up and speak for yourself as well. All right, it's all good.
Just to confirm about the DAO signaling, you don't need to reconfirm. If you are leaving, if you're pulling out, then you need to say that. But if you are good to go, you don't need to reconfirm in the signaling thread.
Okay, all good. Yeah, thank you. So we have the Aavegotchi DAO Hall of Fame. I'm actually really excited about this. So this is a project that Dr. Wagme teamed up with, sorry, 1 second here. Dr. Wagme teamed up with Bowtied Nerd, and to create this Aavegotchi DAO Hall of Fame project to recognize some of the big contributors to community over this last year. And so mentioned the DAO call. The goal of the project is to appreciate and memorialize the great contributors in our community. DAOs are a great experiment, and the community is truly one of the greatest strengths of Aavegotchi. So this project recognizes 10 incredible builders and community leaders that have got us here to this point. So you're trying to drop the link there. Thank you. So Bowtie Nerd and Dr. Wegme each nominated 3 people for the Hall of Fame, and then they informed those people of their nomination and asked them to nominate another 3 members. So the process kind of cascaded out sequentially, and total of 19 individuals were nominated with many numerous votes. And the top vote recipients will be included in the first round of Aavegotchi DAO Hall of Fame at the 31st celebration. But I think we might be doing that a day earlier just based on what we discussed, and it might work out better for you, Coder Dan, to keep the exact same time, but we'll just do it the day before and have our end of year extravaganza on the 30th. So that should be good. To honor these community members, custom NFTs have been designed by Bowtie Nerd for each of the inductees. And so 100 will be minted for each of the 10. So that's 1,000. That's going to be 1,000 cards. And so they'll be split between, of course, Bowtie Nerd. A portion will be, I think a few of them will be given to each inductee. And then let's read on here and see what's going to happen with the rest. These will be submitted as fake gotchis on the 1224 Hangout. Assuming they're not flagged, 100 will be minted. Inductees receive 3 copies of their personalized NFT in a DAO-owned parcel NFT display case, which is really cool. And 25 copies go to the artist, 1 copy to Dr. Wagme for organizing the event, and other 70 copies will go to so the 70 copies will go to the Arcade Task Force. And so that'll give them a opportunity to use these as game rewards or whatnot for competitions. ATF and Bowtie Nerd will split the royalties on that. And the Arcade Task Force has very generously offered up 10 of their fake gotchi cards to sponsor the project out of their 87. They're a big holder. The DAO Walk of Fame will feature DAO-owned humble roadside parcels along the west path from the center of the DAO district. These parcels will remain in the DAO's possession and feature the custom NFT in an NFT display case. So this is pretty cool, kind of like a trophy. This will help transform the DAO district into a fun and celebratory region. Also leverages DAO assets to appreciate and keep talented contributors. So I think a while back there was a core proposal that had gone through for, what was it? Was it 50 DAO parcels to be minted for the DTF? I think it was 50 DAO parcels. So yeah, Agap 44 and DAO parcels from Agap 44 are still pending transfer from PC. So I guess we will need those parcels minted before that date, right? Before the 30th. Okay, very good. Right on. And so Coder Dan says, will be delivered soon. Bear markets are tough, but we truly have something special in Aavegotchi. It was an incredible pleasure to run this project and to gather nominations. Unsurprisingly, but more importantly, the community values many different skill sets and types of contributors, something that we must embrace and maintain moving forward. We are partnering with GMI for the celebration, and so we've kind of we've planned some fun things for the end of year extravaganza, and so we'll also be promoting this Hall of Fame project. So you can bet it will be a very fun party. Please celebrate the community with us over the next few weeks as we induct 10 very special community members in the Hall of Fame. So Very good. Let's read some comments here. I'll plan to submit the pieces to the queue next weekend, so keep your eyes peeled and give it a heart. Yeah. No, this will be good. And so the only actionable item on behalf of Pixelcraft is just to get the parcels and Coder Dan. You said that shouldn't be long for too long for that. So very good. Let's read some of the comments here. Gotchi Bulls submitting a fake gotchi tonight. Okay, let's do it. I'm actually submitting a fake gotchi tonight also. All right, so and ZombieShepherd. So we got some really cool stuff coming down the queue, I'm sure. So we did Alchemica Spillover. Let's see, Bizarre Listing Fee, Hall of Fame. Rarity Farming Season 5 was brought up by Cookie Thief a little while ago, and I think there's been some updates to his post here. So I've been reminded by some helpful friends there's a 3.5 million ghost pool of player rewards to work with. This could be a go-to funding for another round of rarity farming. Given that Gotchiverse native uses for said pool seem like they're a few quarters away from finalizing. If deemed useful by the DAO, we could give the player pool rewards to rarity farming on an IOU basis, with said pool to be refilled first when we do another sale or liquidity generating event. So our scheduling was season 4 was June, July. Season 5, this was the initial schedule, I think. October, November, and then February, March 2023. Some cliff notes here talking about the macroeconomics of the environment we're in right now. But of course, the good thing is there's deals to be had in sound projects. And so this could be something to consider here with paying out the ghost for rarity farming. And I believe the timing for rarity farming is supposed to coincide with the Forge coming out, I believe. So that might be interesting to see how people use those assets for, to increase competitiveness for rarity farming. So it is important to have some considerations on how to fund these rarity farming events going forward. So the appetite for risk assets is at record low. So funding these future sessions with the GBM sale might not just annoy our long-term holders, but even risk our stock not selling out completely in the worst case scenario, which could be very bad. On the other hand, funding a rarity farming by trade fees of the GACs alone is not going to work out in the current market. But very much possible once we kick off and liquidate the world. Maybe it's prudent to coast off our treasury while getting some Ghost and Alchemica sinks in to accompany Season 5 and plan accordingly for 2023 and beyond. While getting some Ghost and Alchemica sinks in. So stuck in a dilemma where on one side our treasury is running at a negative for each rarity farming season, but not doing a rarity farming at all could also, it might incentive, people might not want to hold the asset because they figure their yield is drying up. But he follows up here and says, perhaps this is an acceptable risk to take, and we should focus on keeping the treasury filled, or perhaps we want to burn runway and focus on keeping our core user base engaged. In preparation for new user acquisition and hopes for a better market. So I think someone also made a good point, alternatively, that if the rarity farming season, let's say we were to forego rarity farming season and use that money towards funding projects, not saying we have that many projects this size, but you'd be able to fund roughly 30 projects the size of the Forge. If we didn't do a rarity farming season, just as an example. But I think we should get creative with rarity farming moving forward. Like, I like the idea of the Forge, and also the where is it now? I might have closed it by accident. But the respec potion is actually being developed right now as we speak. We got Jared, who put a respec potion. He's working on the respec potion smart contract stuff right now. And then Notorious BTC is also doing some of the artwork for the potion itself, potion design itself. And so that will be available. I'm hoping will be available, sometime either before or early in rarity farming, if we kick off in the new year. If we kick off in the new year here. So lost my train of thought there. One sec. So the respec potion, yes, the respec potion will be available. I think something we need to still discuss, because the core prop hasn't been submitted for that yet. We're going to submit the core prop with the code and everything to be implemented once that core prop passes. I think that's kind of what we're hoping to stride towards for many proposals that are going to be implemented by the DAO, is that the code should be ready, the design should be ready, and then, so long as the SIG prop is passed, and then the core prop, we can discuss some details on. For example, one of the things that we could discuss is, how do we want these respec potions distributed? I think that was one of the things we had to still kind of yet come to consensus on, was, do we want the respec potions just airdropped to all gotchis that have reached a certain XP level, or how do we want to distribute these potions? I think that's the one thing we need to come to consensus on, but I think otherwise the majority of the DAO seems to support the idea of a respec potion. Seeing some people writing. I think you guys are, what are you discussing? User focused blog piece for the Forge. Arena. Yeah. What do you all think about the respec potion just being airdropped to everybody? Does that seem like a pretty simple solution? Anybody who's no airdrop, please elaborate, sir. No airdrop. Gotchibos wants an airdrop. So let me explain. The idea behind the respec potion was, many of us have added our, as your gotchi gains XP, you're going to accrue points, I think, every 3 levels. So some of us have accrued at least a few points, in addition to the aging mechanic points. And we've actually allocated those points based on just purely rarity farming and aiming for the rarest, highest BRS impact. This kind of might change going forward. You guys have seen the meta in the arena right now. It's very early, but you could see where there might be potential to really adjust some stats on your gotchi and make it perform a little bit better than how it's performing right now. And so if you were given the respec potion, you would essentially be redeemed all the points that your gotchis, I think all the points that the gotchi would be accrued. That's something we can discuss also. But let's say you were to get back all the points from your aging mechanic as well as your XP, you would be able to implement that. You'd be able to implement the points and readjust your gotchi specs based on, for example, battling in the arena. Choina, that's a good point. Can we claim it like we did the backgrounds? Sir Linkius says no potion. Umami soulbound respec potion, so one per gachi at a specific snapshot. Well, what do you guys think? Do you think this respec potion should be tradable on the bazaar? I mean, we're not going to keep giving these out. This is a kind of a, I mean, maybe there's potential to use this again in the future, but Sir Linkist, I feel a respec potion is taking shine away from the forge. I don't think so. I think the forge offers its own significant value, but we have a way of actually manipulating gachi traits the way we want the gachi itself to perform. No futuristic. If tradable, things will get wonky, but in a fun, financial way, less so for gameplay, though. Yeah. I mean, remember the respec potion only allows you to respec the, the traits of the accrued points that you already have. So once those have been allocated, there's really no point using another respec potion unless you've accumulated a significant amount of points again, or you need to drastically change the way your gachi performs. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I just thought of that. No futuristic, unless the meta changes for battle, because that would be a big deal actually for respec.
I think it's probably still too early to drop a respec potion since there's still a ton of stuff that's going to change. Like, if we drop it now, people are going to use it, and then 3 months down the line, if the meta has changed a little bit or like a considerable amount, they're just going to be asking for another one.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, do you see let's say these respec potions they are tradable. Could you see the respec potion being like a kind of a prize, like being used as a reward of some sort, like a high tier reward in the arena or something?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be. Basically, it's a potion reward.
Yeah, maybe you have to collect like an obscene amount of alchemica to craft one. It's kind of considered like a godlike craftable in the arena, where it's like you have to be a very good gachi, like a very good player to be able to actually, collect enough alchemica and not get killed and still be able to craft that respec potion. Could be like something to reach for anyway. But you might be right there with we're just starting to get a grasp of how the mechanics work for like battle gameplay, and they'll probably change a ton between now and then. When the full release is out, even I'm sure there's going to be between now and then there's going to be significant changes.
Yeah, like when the next big meta change will be, and that's planned, will be like wearables being introduced. So I would say, like, even before that release, it's really like if we did an airdrop to all the gachis, that would be a good time probably once we are getting closer to having like a more confirmed arena experience. If we do it before wearables, I think it'd be too early.
Interesting. So you're thinking, just from your perspective, that maybe we wait for the forge to come out, we wait and see how people are interacting with the forge and using that to modify traits. And then we can kind of look at how the meta is in the arena, and then maybe have a discussion about airdropping a respec potion.
I definitely think we should airdrop one.
Yeah.
That just the timing of it, because if we do it too early, people are going to use it. Like a portion of people are going to use it. Then there's only one per gachi, so they might sell their gachi to someone else, and that person might then have it and not have that potion. And then the wearables prop would come out, and they'd be kind of stuck. So I think it makes sense to wait a little bit until wearables.
Yeah. Interesting. Crypto Gachi, why do you want to airdrop them instead of doing some Gachiverse event or something?
Isn't that what the prop was asking for?
Airdrop respec potion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do believe we came to a consensus. I think when we had this conversation last week, come to a consensus that we did want to do we did want to do an airdrop, but we were trying to figure out the timing of the distribution and also figure out if it was going to be a tradable thing or if it was going to be kind of a soul bound one-time use, kind of correlated to the gotchi itself. So from here, it sounds like some people are saying no, it shouldn't be tradable, it shouldn't be on the bazaar, and maybe there's a possibility where it's craftable in the arena instead as a kind of high tier craftable potentially. But yeah, why don't we shelf that for now? But it will be ready to go when we're ready to use it, and the coming months we'll see how this meta for battle develops. So
it had the SIG prop pass, but are we waiting for the core prop? Is that what it is?
yeah, but from what I understand, we didn't want to push the core prop to like the code was actually ready for the potion.
Right, yeah.
And then the design. So I got Jared's working on the potion right now, and Notorious BTC is putting together just like the NFT design. So that should be ready to go whenever we're ready to implement that, and then we just need to figure out a few details, and then we can bundle the code with the core prop, and then we can also then we'll get the vote out there at that point. Choina saying, I like tradable, but agreed it's probably too early. If dropped now, I would be holding off for more info anyway, so to make the same mistakes twice. Yeah, it's true, because you might find yourself in the same boat. So okay. See some more people typing there.
Now that we guys have seen combat a little bit, I got about 20 more minutes, but I'd love to hear any fresh ideas for eyes.
Ooh, this is a good discussion. Let me try and see if I can find Hardcore's eyes board while you guys are dropping some comments there in the chat. Eyes.
Not lag. Not so by lag you mean inertia. We did turn off inertia in the arena currently. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference, but the movement is more snappy. Attack range could be interesting. That would be, so the weapons are going to have their own attack ranges. So we have to figure out how that would work together, but that could be possibly interesting. If we're talking about a utility, like an actual affecting combat somehow.
Yeah, let's look back at the board. Just real quick, touching on Dr. Wagme's comment there. We are looking look at DAO forum post for better details. A DAO executive committee, DAO dev team. Mikey wasn't able to make it today, but we definitely want feedback. That is something I wanted to have a conversation about, but I wanted to finalize a few things between Dr. Wagme and the current members before there was a few things I wanted to clarify and get a chance to do. So I might follow up with you guys after or in the thread, and then definitely something to talk about. Eyes. Okay, eye comments coming in. Have the ability to lock and track a gotchi for a limited range.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit on the Hangout. I think that there's a good case to be made for the power shot to be the snipe shot to be a lock attack. But if we do that, we're going to be having some internal discussions about a little bit of rock paper scissors action on that. So there's definitely going to be some changes for January related to like if we can get it developed in time, having some sort of tracking attack.
Yeah, I'm wondering if one, like the eye shape, could be like the locking effect, and then uh, maybe the eye color could be the stickiness of the attack. Like how, when you shoot a fireball, does it actually kind of curve? Does it follow you a little bit, or does it just go straight past you? If it's maybe like a different, I don't know. It's just a random thought I had. Looking at hardcore's Miro board here. Is there still a plan in place to use any of the previously suggested eye shape mappings that were mentioned? I think in the early Bible chapters? I think it was early Bible chapters that suggested some interesting ways to use the eye shape specific mappings.
The original ones were basically handling and vision. So currently, you're able to zoom in and out. That maybe we take that for granted, right? Maybe that could be the zoom rate could be fixed by different eye ranges. That could be potentially interesting. And then the other one was the handling, which is currently what we're calling the inertia. So if you had like the original idea before we play tested it, I think was that low, like you would basically have snappier movement with certain eyes.
Okay. And this would be different, kind of like from evasiveness. This would be different because evasiveness is your ability to get away, right, or ability to dodge attacks. Whereas this is you're talking about handling specifically.
Yeah. But I'm curious for zooming, do you guys find like when you're in combat, do you actually zoom out or do you zoom in more, or kind of mix of both?
I don't know about you guys, but I stay at about 20%, like
Yeah.
20% zoom. I'm usually playing with, yeah, Zico, 20 to 25.
So having eyes linked to zoom, not really sure if that's a benefit, if people would actually use it. I think it could be interesting, say that you're in like a team game and you need to have someone's got to have vision, a little bit more vision. That could be interesting. But for like the day-to-day combat, I'm not sure that zooming in or out would be very helpful.
Phantasma says if there's ever going to be stealth in game or fog of war, then eye traits are also a no-brainer to affect those dynamics.
Yeah, fog of war. We've definitely talked about it. It's kind of been on the bucket list to add in. It's just exactly how we want to do it. Like, there's a couple major questions to go over, but I think I personally would like to have fog of war in the Citadel and in the arena. I think that would make it pretty. It would just make it feel kind of more RPG-ish. Like being able to see everything isn't necessarily that fun.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like with the zoom, there's certainly times when it's beneficial to zoom out. So maybe it's the range that's restricted, not how far you can zoom out, but yeah, I guess that would be the same thing. But I feel like we're proposed to have a great Aavegotchi MOBA. I agree.
Yep.
Phantasma could also have craftable potions to temporarily reduce fog of war.
Like a ward, basically.
Mm-hmm. I mean that would actually that would actually address one of the concerns, which would be if we did have a fog of war, there would be a subset of gotchis that would just not be very ideal for like effective at battle, possibly. So maybe having potions available might be a way to mitigate that, and so those gotchis would actually have to be they'd be fighting for their vision, like their vision, to be able to see further. Yeah, Dr. Wagner, the different classes are already taking shape. I'm looking forward to, I hope one of our like data-driven tools that we have, like Adventure.io or there's Fireball GG. I hope they put in some sort of a mechanic where you can actually look at the archetype of the gotchi. Like, is this a tank? Is this a kind of like a ranger? The specific strengths of each gotchi would be really interesting to see. Then the team-based gameplay is going to be insane. The 3 versus 3, and that's when like your team dynamics actually will count. So like how it won't matter as much now of the traits of one individual gotchi. It will be the combined traits of a team. So actually, that's a good question regarding the fog of war and all that. If we were to have team-based gameplay, that would be a little bit strange, right? With if we had like the range correlated to gotchis, because then some of your teammates might not be able to see you potentially.
Well, fog of war, if you're allies, usually you're able to see what your allies can see.
Okay.
So, I mean, if we do introduce fog of war, having basically a larger, it would be natural to have like a larger vision radius, right? That would make total sense to have a bigger vision radius for one of the eye traits. But if we don't have fog of war currently, it's like zooming in and out. It's not really that interesting. But when you add in fog of war, then it becomes necessary to have different like vision radii for different types of players. That's pretty common. I think.
Yeah.
I think MOBAs, a lot of MOBAs do that as well. Like they have different vision for different heroes. I'm checking the comments here. I love the option to add the mouse actions to my gamepad. But I didn't want us to get too much into gameplay brainstorm, but I guess it kind of relates to the eyes, so it does relate back to the Gotchi versus Bible. But I don't want to get too much in brainstorm mode. If there's any other DAO, major DAO things to go over, we can focus on that as well.
Just real quick, I'd like to, before we kind of end off here, going back to what Dr. Wagme put in the chat there earlier, we're currently working on a path forward that'll be effective for managing, funding DAO projects, and also moving the DAO forward on certain initiatives that we might want as a DAO to have. So just go this DAO structure that I put together with Dr. Wagme and Mikey J. This is something I still have to review with them, but really I didn't make any major changes. It's just the Aavegotchi DAO or DAO Foundation. They, of course, will, as a DAO, we vote on protocol changes, but they will also be responsible for, nominating probably subsequent executive committee members, and as well as the liaison or the PM. They would set compensation for those members and then approve funding for executive committee. So this would be, in my opinion, this would be kind of a replacement for the DTF. In my opinion, this DAO executive committee will be able to drive our DAO forward in a more organized way. So let's look at some of the roles here, and we're still discussing this. I think I got to jump into that thread and I'll drop this in there as well. But the basically the DAO executive committee would be comprised of a group of DAO members that are elected by the DAO, and they would serve a term of 12 months. There would be a chair there for the committee, and basically the purpose of the DAO executive committee is to do multiple things. So they could recommend initiatives to the DAO. They'll help with developing the DAO roadmap, the SOP, any supporting documentation, could set organizational goals and priorities, implementing DAO initiatives that are voted on and improved by the DAO. So things that you might want done, for example, the Forge is going to be a evolving project. And so maybe if the DAO votes or a proposal goes through to make some changes to the Forge, then the executive committee would have the resources to be able to do that. They would be compensated on a monthly stipend set by the DAO, and then there'd be a monthly time commitment for the members. And they will also approve funding for the individual department leads. So I think initially this role will probably be about, between 3 and 4 people for the executive committee. So what we have here are some combined roles. So we would have someone who is aside from the tech lead. So the tech lead would be someone who is orientated with programming, smart contracts, and that sort of thing, can oversee kind of the creation of DAO tooling and software development in the DAO. So they'd be composing software, reviewing DAO funded contributor code for quality assurance, maintainability, and security. You would have a combined role of a communications and product lead who would be able to promote Aavegotchi protocol both internally and externally, oversee some marketing and PR campaigns, develop internal and external communications, so like branding or websites, press releases. Then you have the product lead side of it, supporting development of fun, engaging gameplay experience built on the Aavegotchi protocol, and also collecting feedback from players, making recommendations to the DAO task forces, and monitor and report on key gameplay metrics. And then the third position would be it's a combined position between operations, finance, and HR lead. Let me zoom in here a little bit. So operations would be like developing systems and processes for DAO operations, facilitating communications between the leads, monitoring key operational KPIs, ensure DAO contributors activities are in line with the operational priorities set by the executive committee. And then there's a finance side of it, maintaining charts and a ledger, producing financial statements, creating budgets and forecasts, provide insight and analysis of DAO financial health, and then submit weekly accounts payable reports. Those would be probably generated through like Parcel. HR lead, and that would just be regarding recruitment. So all these things kind of will tie together into D work, which is another thing for the new year I have planned on implementing. So the DAO will have a D work. We'll be signing specific roles. Yeah, we'll be assigning roles to people who want to contribute to the DAO or are already contributing to the DAO, and we'll start building our DAO talent pool. We do have a lot of talent, but we haven't aggregated that, so we will aggregate our talent pool, and those will be contributors that become eligible to take on, for example, take on bounties, any DAO related work those individuals be eligible for. And of course, the DAO executive committee, whatever they are not handling internally will be dispersed as a bounty. So they'll get in touch with me, and then I can disperse the bounty through DWork. So the one part of this model that, like I said, I got to catch up with Dr. Wagme and figure out how the DAO liaison activities and PM activities would fit in with the executive committee, or if the liaison or PM would be more of an interface between Pixelcraft, the DAO, the community, and projects. In my opinion, it's more of a flexible role because the PM kind of does a little bit of all of these things, but doesn't really specialize in any one thing, but is able to actually maintain, like for example, maintaining the D work, and communicating the budget through there or past project funding, and maintaining a data repository. These sorts of things are really important, while also having that follow up with funded projects and being the kind of the communicator between what projects, what project timelines are looking like, and also what the DAO executive committee is, what they funded, reporting back to them basically. And so the DAO liaison is going to, or the PM is going to be responsible for building and maintaining the contributor pool, collecting community feedback towards some DAO initiatives, especially DAO projects that we might be working on, assist with processing grant applications, serving as the point of accountability for funded community projects, but that might be a shared responsibility going forward with the executive committee. Assigning reviewers and also consulting with the DAO executive committee to assess the feasibility of large grants. This thing that I think is going to be really valuable as a DAO executive committee, from my perspective, to be able to consult with them, especially on larger proposals, and get maybe some more feedback rather than being the sole decision maker or initiator of like large grants. So we've had some really cool ideas, some really interesting ideas, but also fairly large grants. And so, I would be happy to work together with the DAO executive committee on things like that, and come up with a feasibility report or assess the feasibility of the grant, and then also come up with the appropriate budget for the grant. If it's a bigger ask than what's necessary. Also, PM will coordinate with DAO Media team weekly before and after meetings, and then of course leading the Sunday DAO meetings and the written material as well. So those are some of the activities I already do in addition to kind of what I have planned for the next quarter. So it'll be good. I'm gonna probably check up with Dr. Wagme and Mikey J, and we'll have a more refined version of this. But essentially, this is the gist of what we're trying to create here, and I hope it makes sense. I think one thing I didn't address down here was the contributor and reviewers. So the contributor pool is going to be, of course, people with specialized skills. There may be some work for administrative support in the future. They'll also be available to review proposals. And so sometimes when you need a second look at something, the contributor pool will be really helpful for that. And then also overflow work. So eventually when we get really going and the DAO executive committee has their hands full, let's say they're working on something regarding the Forge, big project, big update, and there's some other big projects in the pipeline. Maybe some of the more day-to-day tasks or easier tasks could be assigned to the contributor pool in terms of overflow work. And so the contributors specifically would just have to signal their availability, but they would basically be compensated based on scope or a specific task rather than like on a retainer or anything like that. So yeah, that's the model. Kind of been refining it a little bit. Kind of curious to see if you have any questions.
It's definitely a lot to take in.
It's a lot. I just kind of ran through it, but I'll actually plug the link here. I'll plug the link here if you want. If anybody wants to just go there on their own time and kind of look through the different roles, and feel free to do that. Really, another point to mention here is the committee will be the DAO members will be elected, but I think we'll have some nominations, and we should be thinking about community members who have already executed and delivered on a high level. If we're going to be starting this out, because because this model has many moving parts, we want to give it the best possible chance at succeeding. And so we should think about, just members who have already shown that they can get funding from the DAO, execute on projects, and deliver. And so, honestly, I think the Forge team comes to mind there, and I think many of the members in there would be great in these positions. So something we can think about. But there will be an official SIG prop that we put out based on the discussions happening in the forums, kind of what we've gone through here, and of course, taking in some other ideas that peeps might have. So
I'm gonna have to get off here, friends.
yeah,
but enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and yeah, great DAO call.
Yeah, thank you. It was really good. And why don't we just agree to enjoy our next weekend and touch some grass, read some books, or just relax. Like, we've worked really hard. We've been so consistent every week. So feel free to take a weekend off there, and we'll see you back again, I think, on the 30th. So enjoy your holidays, spend time with family. Like I said, maybe take some time away from Gotcha Gang for a little bit, and yeah.
This is we'll be doing a little of that, but I got a lot of things to plan as well. This is holidays are great for some kind of uninterrupted planning that I've been wanting to do.
Yeah, very good. That'll be good. And so yeah, enjoy it however you guys enjoy that. And I'll be in the arena. All week.
Well, it's gonna so
Yeah,
the arena has I wish, right? We've got about 22 hours left in the arena, but it'll be back in January.
Oh man, we're gonna miss it.
All right, guys. Happy holidays, everyone. See you soon.
Yeah, happy holidays, friends. Peace out.